Hey everyone! Samsung's A-series lineup has always been about well-balanced mid-rangers, and this generation is no different. Their Galaxy A42 has the distinction of being one of the cheapest 5G phones that you can buy. This elegant device is all about performance and connectivity over other parts of the mobile experience. So if you're interested in a 5G phone that won't break the bank, is this the one to get? I'm Angie for GSM Arena, and this is our review of the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G. The A42 has an unusual design. While it has rather average dimensions for a 2020 smartphone, it has 4 different shaded bars in the back, which have a unique prism dot look. You have 3 shades to choose from: white, gray, and black. At 193 grams, it's both heavier and larger than the Galaxy A41, in part due to the huge increase in battery capacity. The plastic back panel curves to the glossy frame on the sides, which makes it less grippy than we would like, and it's a fingerprint magnet if we've ever seen one. Overall though, it's comfortable in the hand, and you can always put a case on it for a better grip. You'll find clicky keys on the sides and a card slot that supports expandable storage beyond the generous 128GB you get as base storage. Turn the A42 around and you'll find a 6.6-inch Super AMOLED screen with a notch at the top and bezels that are a bit thick in comparison to many phones out these days. Still, it's an affordable phone, so it's not really an issue. There's a fingerprint reader under the display, and it's fast and accurate, which is great, though you can always use face recognition if that's more your thing. What will be disappointing to some is the resolution. At 720p, it's a noticeable downgrade from previous A40 series phones. The A42 doesn't support HDR10 either, though it does have Widevine L1 DRM support, so you can stream Full HD videos even though the screen has a lower resolution. On the bright side of things, the display got a respectable 570 nits of max brightness, so that is more than enough for good sunlight legibility. We also found that it had very good color reproduction. This being a mid-ranger, it's not so surprising that you'll find a headphone jack on the bottom of the phone and a single downward-facing speaker. The phone also supports FM radio, which is a little more unusual. The speaker had below average loudness, but as far as audio quality was concerned, it offered a much richer sound than the A41, with well-balanced mid and high tones. One of the most impressive parts of this phone is the battery capacity. It has a 5,000 mAh battery in comparison to the 3,500 mAh one that we saw on the A41. Thanks to the huge battery capacity, the lower res display, and a power-efficient chipset, we got an amazing endurance score of 144 hours on our battery life tests. Charging speed was less impressive, but considering the beefiness of the battery, it's no surprise. The 15-watt charger the phone ships with can refill 27% of the battery in 30 minutes and 78% in 90 minutes, while a full charge requires 2 hours. The phone uses the Snapdragon 750G 5G with 4, 6, or 8 gigs of RAM. It's one of Qualcomm's newest chipsets. This is the second time that we've seen this chipset on a smartphone, and it's proven to be quite capable whether it's gaming or day-to-day tasks. The chipset, in combination with a 720p display that needs less power, meant that the Galaxy A42's gaming performance was through the roof for a mid-ranger. The Galaxy A42 5G sports Android 10 with One UI 2.5 on top. Unfortunately, the phone doesn't support an always-on display, but otherwise the software package is similar to other Samsung phones. There's edge panels you can access with a single swipe to the side, gesture navigation, and a dark mode. Interestingly, the phone doesn't come with Samsung's browser, but it uses Chrome instead. When it comes to the cameras, the phone has the same setup as the Galaxy A41, plus an extra depth sensor. What that means is that you're getting a 48-megapixel main snapper, an 8-megapixel ultra-wide, a 5-megapixel macro cam, and the new 5-megapixel depth sensor. The main camera outputs 12-megapixel photos, and during the day, we saw a lot of resolved detail, high contrast, low noise, and balanced dynamic range. We saw some minor softness on the edges, but it didn't detract from the overall experience. If you choose to dig in the menu and take a snap using the full 48 megapixel resolution, you'll get outstanding photos with even more detail, better contrast, and more accurate colors. So if detail is what you're after, it might be worth switching to this mode for a photo or two. The 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera was also respectable. Photos had enough detail and contrast, noise was low, and the automatic distortion correction did a great job. Colors were duller than we'd like, and the dynamic range wasn't impressive, but those are the only complaints we could come up with for the class. Portraits were excellent in part thanks to the new depth sensor, and we saw abundant detail, great contrast, and proficient subject separation. The artificial blur looked good too. The 5 megapixel macro photos were alright, but we've seen better and it would take us 4 or 5 tries to get one sharp photo. You'll capture tiny details like fine text on bills, but the quality isn't that good and it's more of a hassle than we'd like. In low light, the main camera produced surprisingly good photos. They have enough detail and good contrast, and colors retained much of their saturation. Auto HDR was on and it fired in most of the shots, but some highlights still remain blown. There's a night mode available only for the main camera and it takes about 2 to 3 seconds to work. Photos are slightly cropped and shots are outputted at 8 megapixels instead of 12. That said, it did an excellent job restoring highlights, revealing more details in the shadows, cleaning up noise, and improving the contrast. So you should definitely take advantage of it. The ultra-wide was less impressive than the main camera in low light, but if there was enough light, it could snap some usable images. The phone can shoot up to 4K at 30 FPS with both the primary and ultra-wide cameras. 4K footage from the main camera had accurate colors, excellent detail, enough dynamic range, and great contrast. 4K clips from the ultra-wide were also good, though not as great. The resolve detail was less than we would have liked due to some noise reduction, and colors were a bit oversaturated. Overall, it looked good though, with nice contrast and nice dynamic range. EIS is available for both cameras, but you can only use it when shooting Full HD videos. In the notch on the front, there's a 20 megapixel snapper, but it only outputs shots in 12 megapixels. Pictures didn't have quite as much detail as we would have liked, but contrast, colors, and dynamic range were great when there was enough light. In darker conditions, the detail deteriorated dramatically. The Galaxy A42 5G is a bit of a head-scratcher. There is a lot of competition out there and a lot of phones with better screens or more balanced overall packages. If you watch a lot of video content, this might not be the phone for you. But if you're chasing 5G connectivity, great performance, and great battery life, not exactly in that order, then this is one of Samsung's smartphones that you should definitely take a look at. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.